Leon, I want to go to Dave McCarthy and from a financial point of view, because Dave joins me from a financial point of view. Dave McCarthy, good morning. How are you today?
Good morning, Keith Finnegan.
Thanks for joining us today. We're looking at a number of issues. We're looking at property price. We spoke about yesterday the first property price rise since 2008. They say it sees an increase of 1.2 nationally. But yesterday we were talking to some auctioneers and they said be very careful of this type of, growth and all of that.
Well, yeah, I mean, within those figures, we haven't seen, I haven't seen anywhere where the property price increase applies to Galway. So the CSO figures are kind of divided between different types of property in Dublin and the general property trend in Dublin and in the rest of the country nationally. So, I mean, I don't know what it is for Galway. It would be interesting if those figures, I don't think they're available. They're right in what they're saying. But the one thing I will just say is that, and again, maybe some of the property professionals out there might disagree with my viewpoint, but if you go back to when we were at the height of the boom, and we had obviously unnaturally high property prices fueled by, for all the reasons that we know. And one of the things, if you were an investor and you were buying a residential property, the rent yield that you were getting, which is the rent as opposed when taken as a percentage of the price of the property you're paying, they were down around 3 or 4%. Now it's completely skewed in the opposite direction. I mean, there's rent yields of into double figures now. And you have to say it yourself, that, in my opinion, that's skewed in the opposite direction. And it obviously is fueled by a lot of things, including the general lack of, I suppose, activity in the property market and the lack of lending in terms of what I would call a normal market. But, you have to ask yourself the question, is there the opposite to a premium, whatever that is? I have to look it up on Google, built into property prices now, which is reflective of the fact that there's so little demand and that the people out there who were really, I suppose, picking up bargains or investors or people with cash as opposed to those who are looking for mortgages. So I think as the property market begins to rebound over the next couple of years, there's going to be a bit of a bounce in certain properties. Now, this does not apply across the board, where I believe that they're priced at an unnaturally low, an unnaturally low level. And that might be particularly true in three main centres, namely Galway, Cork and Dublin. Because when we see, and it's already coming out as a trend at the moment, a kind of a reversal in property values, it's going to be fractured. You're going to have probably 3 or 4, if you like, divisions of property nationally. For example, Dublin, Cork and Galway, in my opinion, would be at the top level. And then you'll go down to maybe other cities and towns next, and then you're going to have country towns and places where the property should never have been built. And they are going to, take a long time to recover if they'll ever, so in some cases, if they'll ever recover, and that's questionable. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how it pans out. But look, this is good news. It's the first increase we've had since 2008. And 1.2% won't drive anybody wild.
No, but I mean, if you take, it all depends on what they're basing it on. And I'm not going to labour the point, but you see, and we see it here and you see it everywhere, the AMV might be 80,000 and it sells for 220,000. I mean, that's just to get people in and to
AMV means little or nothing in terms of actual sale price, in my opinion. They have to do it. But
you get people all excited. Oh God, that's only 80,000 there. God, that's fantastic.
But if you think about it, Keith, we had the opposite at the height of the boom. We had people putting on properties at 800,000 and somebody thinks, well, mine is next door to that and mine is worth it. It's not. You can ask what you want. I mean, what will determine the value of property obviously is what it sells for, the actual price, and that's all that's important.
Finally, any update on the central bank, the review of the pension or the payment protection insurance?
They're
referring to it as a scandal. Was that a scandal?
I believe it's a scandal. I mean, this is where people bought payment protection insurance attached to loans over the years where they weren't able to make, in my opinion, claims because of the conditions attached to these policies. A lot of people would have taken them out with personal loans, sometimes attached to mortgages and also attached to credit cards. So you had a situation where they were able to make claims on debt. They were able to make a claim if they were made redundant. And in a lot of cases, people were sold policies who might have been self-employed, and obviously they can't be made redundant. And actually, it's voluntary redundancy. The other thing is that you were able to make a claim on sickness. So a lot of these policies were missold. It was a major scandal in the UK, and the central bank announced over a year ago that they were getting the banks to conduct a review. The last notification they posted about where this review stands was back in May, and they said it's ongoing. So I've seen no update, but I mean, there are people out there, some people I think have got letters from their bank about it, but in terms of the final, if you like, results of this review and the extent to which people will receive refunds remains to be seen. I hope to God we see something about this in the next few months, but when the results come out, it's going to be quite shocking.
Or is it going to just drag on and on and on and on?
Well, I don't think so, but I mean, just give you an example, the banks in the UK had to refund as a result of this scandal over there, not hundreds of millions, we were into the billions. So we'll just wait and see, and I hope that the results come out fairly soon.
All right, thanks Steve for joining us this morning. That's David McCarthy and Associates joining us in studio there.